Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? Welcome to Mountain Made Creations. I'm Jill, and I thought I would hop on live. I took half a day off from my full-time job, so I'm off, and I thought, you know what? We need to resin some earrings, so that's what we're going to do today. So welcome to the group, everybody, or to the page. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Give it a thumbs up, turn on your notifications. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're not catching this on a live, because I understand most people are probably working. If you catch it on a replay, I'd love it if you would hashtag replay, sprinkle it out, all the fun stuff. So let's get started, you guys. All right. The other day, we made some earrings. And if you did not catch this live the other day, go back and watch the replay. But we made these earrings using torch paste and some watercolor, which is basically watered down acrylic paint. And I'm going to resin these today. The back is plain, but I will resin the back because I don't like the backs not to be finished. So I will resin the back. And also, we did some earrings the other day that we put scrapbook paper on. We decoupaged scrapbook paper on there. So we're going to resin these today, and I'll have to go back probably tomorrow. Hey, Grace, how are you? I've got this weird, there we go. How are you doing, Grace? Y'all let me know where you're at. I mean, the weather here is beautiful. It's chilly, which is good. I'm always cold, but I'm kind of liking the not humid, hot weather. But the wind is blowing pretty good, and praying for everybody in Florida. We've got a couple friends down there, so we're praying for everybody down there. All right, so we did these with scrapbook paper. We just Mod Podged them on. And I had these earrings I did with napkins way back in the summer, and I never finished the other side. So they're both stars on both sides, and these have stripes on these. These are just made from napkins. And then we did some alcohol inks the other day, and these are what we did with alcohol inks. And let me just show you the difference between not resin and resined alcohol ink. So here's the back of one that I have not done that we're going to do today. Oh, you're from Florida. Yikes. Thank you for sharing, and I hope that you're staying safe if you're still in Florida. So this is not resined. This is resin. Look at the difference, you guys. How crazy is that? So it makes a big difference when you put resin on it, and it's huge. We did these. This is resined. This is not. It's a big difference. So that's why I like to go back and resin all of the alcohol inks. I mean, look at the purples in this one, you guys. Oh my goodness, how pretty is that? Now this is the side that's not resined. So again, you can see a big difference when you resin them. Now working with resin, I have experimented a ton with resin. And it's taken me a while to figure it all out, but if you, like where I'm at, in the room I'm at, we are on the mountain. We're like, the elevation is, I don't know, 3,500, something like that, but they say elevation and temperature plays a role in your curing of your resin. So what I do is I fill up a butter container of hot water, and I set my resin and the hardener in that water before I get started and let it get warm. That helps with bubbles. I have had the worst time with bubbles, like you would not believe. It's insane. So I'm trying to not have bubbles is what I'm trying to do. So those are sitting in hot water. They've been sitting in there for about 5 or 10 minutes. And also I use a lighter. If you use a lighter to pop the bubbles, please be careful and don't burn your house down. Disclaimer, I'm not responsible for any fires. I don't recommend this method, but I do use it. Also, spritzing some alcohol will also pop bubbles. I've had better luck on these earrings like this, not having as many bubbles as if I'm pouring in a mold. So, I don't know why. It's just crazy. But the resin that I use is from Maker Studio. I don't know if you've heard of them or not. I don't have an affiliate link or anything with them. I just really like their resin. It's a good product. It's a 2-part resin. it takes 24 hours to cure. Sometimes I have learned that if the room is not warm, like where my craft room is, it's cooler in here. So I have to take my pieces that are going to cure upstairs to a warmer room for them to cure in 24 hours. Okay, so some people, they can cure in 12 hours. I guess it just depends on the temperature and all that good stuff. So I've learned that. Also, the resin that I use is a 2-part resin, so you're going to mix equal amounts. So you're working with chemicals, basically a chemical. It's mixing together the hardener and the resin. So you need to wear protective PPE. What is it called? Protective wear. I don't know what it's called. I've lost my train of thought. So you should always wear a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask today because I'm doing a live and you probably wouldn't be able to hear me. Normally I wear a mask. Definitely wear gloves. You don't want this on your skin. You definitely don't want it on your clothes because it's going to ruin your clothes. It's not going to come out, I'm telling you. So just be careful when you're using resin. I use a silicone measuring cup and I mix it all in one. You mix it for 3 minutes or until it turns clear. Excuse me. If I'm using putting stuff in the resin, I'll have different containers. Like I buy little cups and stuff from Dollar Tree to put, like, you can use mica powder, you can use acrylic paint, you can use alcohol ink, glitters. I have, let me show you here. What did I do with it? Well, I thought I had it down here. I bought a little container of sprinkles like that you would put on cupcakes or something that was for fall. It had like leaves and stuff in there. I don't know what I did with it. But you can put that in the resin and it would be really cute. And I'm probably going to do that soon, but just not today. I have to resin all of these. So all of these are ready to go. And it is self-leveling. And let me go ahead and get mixing this and I can talk to you while it's mixing since it takes a while. It takes at least 3 minutes, sometimes longer. But you want to, goodness gracious, you want to mix it slow because if you mix it like really fast, it will cause bubbles. Like, believe me, I have struggled with bubbles like you would not believe. And that is so irritating when you get such a pretty piece and it's got bubbles in it. It drives me bonkers. So mixing it slow is one of the keys to keeping it, I'm going to take my watch off. Mixing it slow is one of the keys to keeping the bubbles at bay. You're probably never going to not have bubbles unless you're a pro at this. And if you can do this without having bubbles, please tell me how you do it because I have no idea how you do it with not getting bubbles. And once I sorry guys. Once I pour the resin on the earrings, I put them in a covered box. I use old pizza boxes. And because it has a lid and you don't want like dust getting on in your resin. So that's what I use for that. I have silicone mats that I put them on and all that stuff. All right, so let me mix this. And this has like measurements on it, but I have to hold it up to the light to make sure that I get it exactly right. Because if you mix it wrong, it's not going to cure right. Like if you have more of one than the other in there, you can cause it to not cure correctly. And then you've got a mess. I mean, you can, if you want something that's resin that's not hard, if you want it bendable, then you wouldn't, then you could work on how you mix it to make it like that. I actually had some earrings turn out bendable like that, and that's not what I was looking for, so I had to throw them in the trash. So this is the hardener, and the other one is the resin, and the resin is a lot thicker than the hardener. And once they sit in that warm water, that makes them like a little bit thinner. And I'm trying to wipe off around the top because I didn't think I was going to get that one open. And hopefully, I broke the top the last time I was trying to get into it, and hopefully, hopefully I didn't get water in the bottle, because I had to run water over it to get the lid off. All right, I'm using a popsicle stick, and I'm going to stir the resin for 3 minutes. I'm not even going to time it. I'm just going to go by the way it looks, and I'm just going to mix it really slow. And what I do is I just go into like a figure 8, but I'm going really, really slow, because the faster you stir it, the more bubbles you're going to get. And I was stirring this stuff like really fast for 3 minutes, and you wouldn't believe all the bubbles I had. It was crazy. I don't know what is wrong with my voice. I think it's the wind and the allergies, I guess. I have no idea. It's not the resin, because I was like this before I started. So anyway, I hope that this helps you guys. Some of my learning tips helps y'all, because I've had a lot of pieces that I had to throw away because of bubbles. And so I just have like silicone mats that I have in this pizza box. And once I resin these, I will put them in that box and close the lid. And then I'll take them upstairs, and they will cure for 24 hours. And then some of them I'll have to resin the other side. So resin is it takes a long time. I'm not a patient person at all. So sitting here stirring this as slow as I'm stirring it makes me crazy. But if you stir it fast, you're going to have bubbles. So another thing is you can use UV resin, which I have used it. It's fast, but I don't know what it was about the resin, but I got extremely bad headache when I used that. So, and then I bought another kind of resin, and everything was sticky. I thought it was going to ruin my mold. So I just don't even do the UV resin anymore. This curing for 24 hours, it's fine. That doesn't bother me, because I'm not sitting there watching it. I put it in the box, shut the box, put it upstairs, and forget about it. And it is nice to come back and see the pieces all shiny, because, man, that resin really makes them look good. I'm not kidding. And I can't wait to see these that we painted. I can't wait to see these with resin on them. Oh my goodness, they're going to be so pretty. I really, really liked the wood burn and then the watercolor on it. I really liked that a lot. I love how it turned out. Like this one, I love how the flowers got the yellow in it. And anyway, I think it just adds something to it. It's really, really, really cute. I love it. Let's see, what else can I tell you while we're stirring this up? It is self-leveling, and you want to pour it slow, because you don't want the resin to run off of your earring and down the side. So I really hadn't had any trouble with that. It levels out pretty good. I use a toothpick to go in the hole, but if it closes up the hole, I can use a drill and drill the hole back out. It's not a big deal. The biggest thing I have a problem with is the bubbles. That just, it makes me crazy. But all the things that I've learned, like putting the resin in hot water before I pour it, and then mixing it really, really slow, that has helped a lot. And spritzing alcohol on the molds before I pour the resin in the molds, that helps also, because when you're pouring in a mold, the bottom part of the mold is going to be the front part of the earring or whatever you're making. So sometimes you get bubbles down in there, and it just drives you crazy. So spritzing the alcohol has helped. Also, if you run, like I had a dotting tool, and if you run that around the mold, sometimes that will pop the bubbles. And then I use the lighter. Like I said, I don't recommend it, but I mean, I haven't had any trouble with it. I don't sit there and hold it. I just go over it real quick. But like I said, disclaimer, I'm not responsible for any fires, so please be careful if you use the lighter. But I'm really excited to get these pieces resined, especially the ones that I already did the one side, because they are so pretty. Really, really pretty. So that's what's been going on here. I've been making some door hangers. We made the door hanger last last weekend, and I gave it to my mama. She was the one I made it for, so I gave that to her today. And I have some other door rounds I'm working on. The Arts and Crafts Festival this weekend, I don't think it's going to happen. It's just too much rain. It's supposed to get like 3 to 6 inches here in Virginia. I'm hoping that we don't have a lot of wind and that we don't have a lot of trees go down or flooding. I can't even imagine what Florida's going through right now they said that it was very, very close to a Category 5, which is, I can't even imagine being in a hurricane. I just can't. I can't imagine that. So I'm just stirring this, and the way I know that it's ready is it's clear. It's not milky looking, and it's still, I don't know if you guys can even see it, but it's still milky looking a little bit. And yeah, there are some bubbles in there, but that's okay, because we're gonna try to fix that, hopefully. Hopefully. And I'm gonna try putting the pieces in that box once I get them resined. So I'm probably gonna have to move some stuff out of the way because I don't want to mess them up. I really want these to turn out. And sometimes you can get more resin on one side than the other, and that's very frustrating. I have done that before too. So this is the most tedious part, is stirring this and getting your resin ready to pour. Once you pour it, I mean, it takes some time because you got to go slow, but it's not anything. This is the worst part. And there's lots of bubbles in there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's bubbles in there. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do this and not have bubbles, but I think it's, with these, pouring it on these earrings, not in a mold, it's easier to pop the bubbles. And with the designs on them, they're not as easy to be seen. I know that when I do molds, I put acrylic paint in the resin. And that helps that seems to hide the bubbles. You don't see them as bad. And that's pretty neat that you can use paint. I would have never imagined you could put paint in this, but I saw someone else doing it on YouTube. So believe me, I burned up YouTube trying to figure out the bubble problem. And I've come a long way with it, but I'm still learning. It just takes a little bit. And it still looks milky, and there's right many bubbles in there, and I'm probably not gonna spray alcohol on these. I'm probably gonna maybe spray it once I have them resined, but I don't want to put alcohol on these, especially the ones with the napkins on them, because I don't want to mess them up. And so I just basically go into like a figure 8 in the cup. And I try to go slow as I can, but sometimes when I get to talking, I get to stirring too fast. So, I hope y'all have had a good week. It's hump day. It's been a long week already, and oh my goodness, it's been a long week. My full-time job, we are so busy right now, and they took our computers down to upgrade, and it's just, tomorrow's going to be so busy. But I was able to get off early today since the computers were out and come live with you guys. I went to Sam's. We're having a big 60th birthday party for my brother next weekend. Not this weekend, but next. And my niece, Nevaeh, she's like my little girl. She'll be 6. I can't believe she's going to be 6 years old. So we're having a birthday party for them. So I went and got some stuff for that. All right, so this is looking pretty good, other than the bubbles. I am going to put the lighter down in there after I finish stirring it and try to pop some of them. I might just let this sit for a minute to let some of the bubbles come to the top. Also, I think I'm going to turn my fan on to blow some of this that way. You know, you need to be in a good ventilated room also when you're working with resin. All right, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Let me turn my fan on, and then we'll get busy. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a lot of bubbles in there. So I'm gonna use this cup. And I'm gonna try to put some just going around it a little bit just to pop some of those bubbles. I'm gonna let that kind of sit for a second. And I think what I'm gonna do is move this back here. See if I have a room for this. I don't. All right. And this gets, I mean, it can get messy. So make sure you're wearing gloves. Make sure that your surface that you're working on is protected, because the resin will go. It will get everywhere, trust me. All right, let me put you guys down so you can see what we're doing. And if the comments get in your way, just swipe left and it'll get rid of them. Okay, so now, what is in that? Oh. It's like some kind of, I guess that's where I use the lighter. Ugh. It's like got black stuff in there. Oh my goodness. Hopefully that's going to be okay. Never seen it do that before. All right, I'm going to spritz some alcohol in there just to hopefully get some of those bubbles out. And now I'm going to pour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a smaller stick, and I'm just going to get it out of the container with the stick and put it on there. I'm not going to actually pour it from the cup onto the earring, and I hope that you guys can see what I'm doing. And if your table's not level, that can affect it also. My table is not, I have mats underneath this, I have a cutting mat under there, so it's sort of not real level. And what I do is I get the resin on there and then I move it into that pizza box, and that's sitting on something level so it can level out. And I'm just pushing the resin out, and I'm gonna hold it with the toothpick as I'm pushing the resin to the edge, but try not to go over the edge. So I just put a little bit on there, and I'm just going to move it to the edge, basically is all I'm doing. It's just pushing the resin around. And then I'll let it level out, and then I'll go back and check it. And if it needs more, I can add more to it. It's just, you have more control over it when you put it on the stick and put it on the earring, versus trying to pour it. I think you may run into a chance of going over the edge. And you have about 20 minutes to work with this resin before it starts curing. So just keep that in mind when you're working with it. It's not super fast, but it will start hardening in about 20 minutes. And so that's all I'm doing, is just putting the resin on the earring and then kind of moving it around, trying to push it out to the edge. I don't know how good you guys can see this. I hope that you can see what I'm doing. But I'm telling you, the resin, it really makes these earrings, especially with the alcohol inks. Oh my gosh, it's just the biggest difference versus not resin. I really wish that I could work with the UV resin though, because that's just so fast, but I couldn't handle the headaches. But I really like this resin a lot. But with any resin, you're gonna have bubbles, unless you're a professional at this. Like I said, it's taken me a while to learn the things I have learned, and I'm still fighting with bubbles. But the resin just makes it so pretty. And so once I get those done, I go back and try to make sure I've got around the edges really good, because sometimes it's hard to see. Now, the thing is, trying to move these to the box without, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not, without making a big old mess. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm just going to try to pick these up really lightly and move them over here. And I mean, we got that many done, so it doesn't take too long once you get going, but it can be time consuming. But like I said, you got to kind of work a little fast, because it'll start hardening up before you get done. And I try to keep my gloves cleaned as best that I can. So here's what I have so far in the box. I hope you guys can see that. Now, I'm going to do these and a few more, and then I will put the lighter to them. So I'm just taking the resin on this popsicle stick and getting it on the earring, basically, and then spreading it around. And you don't want a ton of it, because you really don't want it to run off. You don't want it to run over the edge, because then it's ruined. And I mean, you could probably sand it, but I don't know how good it would look. And so I use a toothpick to hold these down, and then Push it around. This weekend, since I'm not doing the festival, I'll be doing, I'm going to make some more brooches in heart shapes and flower shapes. So I can't wait to do that. I love making those. Those are so fun. So yeah, this is just I don't know. I really, really love working with resin. I've made some pretty pieces with it. And I like to try to come up with something different. That's why I really like the alcohol ink. Because you never know what kind of colors or patterns you're going to get. And man, when that resin hits that alcohol ink, it's so pretty. That's why I'm really excited to see the daisy that we did on the one earring. The Magnolia design has a daisy stencil pattern, and it is amazing. I love that. And so that's what we did using the torch paste, and man, I love how it turned out. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like with resin. It seems like this resin is already starting to harden a little bit. So I may not be able to get all of them done, but we're going to try. And then, well, I'll have to come live, probably be Friday, before I can get back on. I may do a quick live tomorrow and show them to you if they all turned out all right. I'm just trying to see if we've got all the resin to the edges, and sometimes it's hard to see. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, but that's what we have so far. So now what I'm gonna do on these is I'm gonna hit it with the lighter. Try to do it where you can see it. And I'm just gonna go over it really fast. And the heat pops the bubbles, hopefully. But I have noticed when I do this, I can see if they didn't go all the way to the edge. And I can see on that one it didn't, so I need to get a little bit more on that one. I think that looks good. So I'm just gonna slide that over and let me get, let's go ahead and do these wood pieces next, because I don't think I'm gonna have time to do all of them because the resin's starting to harden. So let's do these daisies. So this was off the Magnolia design stencil that we put on here with torch paste. Love, love, love that. I can't wait to see these with that resin. Oh my goodness. All right. Whoa. I'm making a mess. Okay. So I'm just pushing the resin out to the edges. as best that I can, and then I'll go back and add a little bit more. And it's self-leveling, so that's a good thing. That helps a lot. And if you didn't see how we did the torch paste on these wooden ones, go back and watch that live. That was super fun. Like I said, it's messy. Okay, so this one needs a little bit more. And sometimes if you have to hold it up to the light to see if you've got it all the way to the edge, and I don't on those. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on here. What do y'all think about my birds? I posted a couple pictures yesterday. They are just the sweetest things. Oh my gosh. And I know they're just birds, but when you raise something like that from a day old, you just get attached. I do anyways. I've really, really enjoyed them. They've helped me deal with losing my dog a lot. It would be pretty sad around here. It was sad anyways, but they're just good company, I guess you could say. Right now, I don't want to get another dog because that heartache, when you lose them, is just, it's hard. And I'm not ready for that. I lost both my dogs within 6 months. That was tough. So I don't really want to do that again right now. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it again. It's been over 20 years since I've not had a dog, so it's kind of weird. Like I said, the birds help with that. Alright, so now I think those are going to be so pretty. So, so pretty. Okay. Now we're going to do these, and then I think that's going to be about it because this is starting to get, well, I might be able to get a couple more, hopefully. We'll see. Because it is starting to get a little bit harder. It's not pouring as good, but and it gets messy. It really does. But the end thing, when you look at them, it's just so worth it. So, so pretty. And you really don't want to get a lot of resin on the back of it, even though you're going to resin the backs anyways. I've had a couple that got ruined because I think it went through the little hole, and it looked a little bit weird on that side, so. right, now let's do these pumpkins. I really don't want to. This mat's got some wet resin on it, so I don't want it getting on the backs of those, so I'm going to switch them out. And these are silicone, so the resin pops right off of them. I've got like a bump right there in my table where it's not really level right there, which is not good. Yeah, these are probably going to be the last 2 pairs I do because this resin is really starting to thicken up. It's getting harder to pour it. And that's when it really starts getting messy. So I just push it to the edge and try not to go over the edge. And you don't have to seal these with anything, but you don't have to seal them with resin. If you wanted to use something else, you could. I've experimented with a bunch of different things, and nothing comes close to the resin for me. So that's why I choose to just do the resin. I love the way it looks when it's done. And you know that if you use scrapbook paper or whatever, it's not going to get damaged. It's going to stay put because that resin is sealing it. And that's why I did not, go over it with the Mod Podge on the front, because we really didn't need to. All right, so I'm going to carefully try to move these over here. And then we'll do these 2, and then that's going to be it, because plus I don't have that much done. Now I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be the 11th pair of earrings we did out of just that little bit of resin. So a little bit goes a long ways. And like I said, it is self-leveling, so it's going to level itself out. And it shouldn't go over on the edges unless you just put way too much on there. And I have done that too. I think I've made about every mistake there is to make working with resin. I just love the look of it. I think it is so pretty. It just makes those colors really pop. And these look good, other than the bubbles. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, and I will just let this sit, and once it cures, it'll pop right out. The stick will just lift it right out and clean it right up. Easy peasy. So what I'm going to do is hold these up, let you see what we have. And it looks like, I'm going to go over them with a lighter to make sure, but it looks like I got everything so far. It looks like it's to the edge all right. And this lighter really does pop those bubbles. You just want to be careful, because you don't want to catch anything on fire. They all look pretty good. This one needs just a tad bit on the edge. Okay. All right, guys. So here's the finished. Well, it's not finished. Once they cure, I'm gonna come back live with you guys and show you. And I'm hoping that everything looks okay. So far, it looks all right. I don't see a whole lot of bubbles in there, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to close this up. We're going to take it upstairs, and we're going to leave it until tomorrow night, or tomorrow. And I'll probably come live. Maybe I'll hop on here with you guys tomorrow when I get off. And we'll look at them and see how they turned out. Hopefully they turned out good. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that I might be able to help you guys with your resin if you're having issues like I did. I know that it's very frustrating with the bubbles, so I hope that I could help somebody, because I know a lot of people on YouTube helped me learn what I have learned so far. So anywho, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. Tomorrow is Friday Eve. Yay. So I will hopefully see you guys maybe tomorrow evening or Friday evening. And that's all I got. So you guys take care. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys soon. Y'all take care.